option in the way of like arresting people.
This is Brandon Kelly, Speedy 4759123, and we're about to play Candy Crush Saga level 33.
That's absolutely true, and probably the way he looks didn't help.
Yeah.
Other people were saying it's not true. There's a bit of an argument, but it was quite an interesting read because then some people were saying, well, he was arrested for public intoxication. That doesn't necessarily mean drunk and disorderly conduct.
Yeah.
Then some people were saying. They were like, I live in South Carolina, and in this state, public intoxication and drunk and disorderly conduct are actually intertwined.
Right.
So there's no way of really telling how severe the incident was.
I mean, with it being like being drunk in public, essentially, I know there are a lot of places that are very uptight about that sort of thing. And again, as somebody pointed out, as you said in the comments, like, the way he looks doesn't help. He's covered in tattoos, He's got long hair, he's got expanded ears.
The way they said it was actually that
like
if BC3 was doing the same thing, he'd be fine. But there's no way of telling because we weren't there.
There's a lot of prejudice against people that are sort of different.
Right.
Like it doesn't surprise me. Maybe a police officer came up to him and just tried to say something, realised he was drunk and it was like easy money or... But I don't know.
Because it's Jeff Hardy, it's a very serious story just because of his history. Hopefully it isn't something too serious. Hopefully it was just an unfortunate situation, and we will of course be providing further updates as and when they come. It's just one of those unfortunate ones. On the bright side, it's not like a DUI or anything.
Well, he's a very small bond, so I think it's probably very, very minor, and it's one of those, as you said, it's like a bit of an arrest trap.
Right.
I think it's probably a very innocent thing. It's hopefully like he's just drunk in public. They're worried he might like create a scene because he's a guy covered in tattoos and stuff. Just
maybe.
Hopefully
it's nothing more serious than that. Next up, let's go to WrestleVotes on Twitter.
Sweet.
I think WrestleVotes might be one of the more legit ones, or they've had a better track record than some of the other weeks, so sometimes that like that.
They have sources, and obviously sources aren't ever 100% accurate, so it's,
Now, they did actually point out themselves, WrestleVotes, not very much, they were like, at Reddit, how you doing? Because they correctly predicted that Aleister Black's opponent would be Cesaro. Now they're back with speculation on Bray Wyatt. So the tweet reads, getting a ton of questions regarding Bray Wyatt. I know this. Prior to Bischoff and Heyman taking over...
Divine Sugar Crush. Divine.
Since now being the point of popping up backstage.
Well, you know what I think might actually happen? I think that it might be SummerSlam might be his first match back.
Right.
Maybe we will see a live, like on stage segment, Firefly Funhouse type thing
Tomorrow.
Like Brutus the Barber Beefcake, like the barber shop.
Yeah.
Something like that, maybe where it's live and they have a guest.
Yeah.
And eventually Bray Wyatt picks an opponent.
Maybe
it's built for SummerSlam.
Anywhere between now and SummerSlam.
Yeah, maybe it'll start happening soon.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think that's
I really hope not.
You hope not?
Yeah. And what is it? Maybe because Aleister Black is back. But again, as you and you've pointed out a few times, and as much as I really want to see the match, it's going to help nobody there because somebody has to win.
Both of them in their corner.
Yeah.
It's a strange one. And again, WrestleVotes was actually stressing the fact that, or was it even? This may have been the Observer actually this week, but I was reading in a few different places that Heyman and Bischoff taking over properly, like full time, happens this Monday and Tuesday.
Tasty.
That are particularly looking for, but their actual official tenures apparently start next week.
I mean, Eric Bischoff went on the road today to Stanford.
Right.
So like, it's
because of that, apparently now it's like a clean slate. So basically, plans that were in the works for after Extreme Rules in the build to SummerSlam may be well subject to change.
Yeah.
Because they've got these big ahead.
I'm assuming
Bray Wyatt could be an example of that.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's like maybe like they're just going to be given the full run of storylines they had for the rest of the year, and then we'll keep that one, we'll keep that one, we'll keep that one, we'll change.
Sweet.
Maybe.
Sweet.
I guess we'll know whether or not we'll see Bray Wyatt, at Extreme Rules tomorrow, and if not, we will be very interested to see when exactly he next appears.
Bigger question, are we going to see Bischoff as an on-screen character?
Oh,
Tasty.
I wouldn't be against it unless he books himself to be just an absolute cool badass who never loses or leather jacket, never gets made fun of.
He comes back out with black hair.
Yeah. Next up, we're well used to seeing WWE superstars recently tweeting maybe some controversial things, but this one was very much a storyline. Kevin Owens
Tasty.
recently with Shane McMahon, and he tweeted, and
Well, you guarded this from me. I'm quite excited. You were like, you're not allowed to look. You're not allowed to. So when we get to point 3,
Sugar Crush. Divine. Tasty.
And to everyone that's on the show, Shane McMahon is on the show. He's so on the show, and this is in order. This is in order of the chief. Finn Balor, okay. The Authors of Pain, yeah. Apollo Creed, yeah. Billy Kidman. Yeah, I know. Right, Liv Morgan, yeah. Buddy Murphy, The Rock, Sarah Logan, yeah. Tony Lawson, Mustafa Ali, Asuka, yeah. Andrade, very valid points here.
Yes, very valid.
War Raiders.
Tasty.
War Raiders, Rey Mysterio, Naomi, Vladimir Kozlov, Kevin Owens himself, Sami Zayn, and rounding it off with Mantar as well.
Mantar's still working the indies.
Yeah,
Bring him back. We could do it.
Everyone's been loving the Mantar thing. I'm tagging quite a few of us in it just because of our video on April Fool's Day about having a Mantar. Check it out if you haven't seen it. But my favourite one is just Billy Kidman, fourth off the bat. Billy Kidman in there.
And he's a sexy guy when he was, in his tank top and his shorts.
Billy was great. I don't know why.
Shooting star presses to the face.
I wonder if we'll see Kevin Owens
Divine.
I think
Graveyard Dogs, maybe.
Graveyard Dogs on their bikes and that. No, not on their bikes. What am I talking about? They're just 2 dogs.
Delicious.
Barking. I would love that.
I would maybe go and get involved just purely because there seems to be too much going on with that storyline anyway.
Yeah.
So, but maybe he will. Who knows? It'll give it certainly a work shoot kind of feel if he did. And finally, several matches have been added to Fight for the Fallen recently. I think certain. I don't want to do lots of this.
Divine.
May well have already done this. But as far as we know, these are the 2 most recent ones. So remember last show, Fighter Fest, there was a 3-team tag team match.
Sugar Crush.
Best friends won.
Divine. Delicious.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right, at all out. And then the winner of that will get a bye.
That's a new record for
So
34.
This is a 3-team match. The 3 teams are Angelico and Jack Evans, who of course we saw Double or Nothing, losing to the Best Friends in a good match. Jungle Boy Luchasaurus, who I suspect may be the crowd favourite.
Right.
The Dark Order, formerly known as the Super Smash Brothers on the Indies. So that'll be a very interesting one. The Dark Order, of course, have been interrupted with videotapes.
You can turn it up with Double or Nothing.
They certainly did.
In the arena anyway.
They've also appeared on screen. Their minions came along at Fighter Fest, but they themselves weren't there. They surrounded the ring and then they went away.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see them in action.
It's just a shame though, because they ain't got nothing on the Best Friends Tron.
No.
Delicious.
In the aftermath of all Chuck Taylor, who tweeted a text exchange between him and Cody, which was like, "How did you find the
Divine.
Yeah. See what I can do.
Tasty.
4 members of the women's division, including 2 Davies, Britt Baker and Riho.
Divine.
Against the team of B. Priestley, who is of course the current top champion in Stardom.
Yes.
And Shoko Nakajima. I didn't know who she was, so I've done a bit of research. She works for Tokyo Joshi Pro currently. She's 27 years old. Well, the last match I could find of hers on Cage Match was 2013. So a decent bit of experience. Apparently she's 4'10". And Tokyo Joshi Pro also is a sister company of DDT. I am a former 2-time DDT Ironman heavyweight champion.
Divine.
Yes. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what Nakajima does. I read some of the comments on her cage match profile. People were saying she's almost like one of the more
Sweet.
members of the Tokyo Joshi Pro roster. Apparently, she's kind of almost the best in 2027. I'm just interested to see how. I'm not trying to like guess what her style is before seeing her, but at 4'10", she must be. Hopefully, she's really quick, really nimble.
Yeah.
I mean,
Imagine if she's just busting out.
last ride.
Tasty.
It's always cool to see new wrestlers, especially on such a big
Tasty.
pretty much now, actually, at the time of me watching this video.
Delicious. Sugar Crush. Sweet.
That's a new record on Candy Crush Saga level 35. We are playing on the iPhone.
/cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do, then please do check out our Patreon, patreon.com/cultaholic, where you can pledge. And don't forget, of course, most importantly of all, to hit subscribe and to join us. Hey everyone, it's Jack from cultaholic.com, and it's time to talk about what happened at AEW's Fight for the Fallen from Jacksonville, Florida. Now, before we do so, I just want to give a big shout out to everybody who joined us on the Cultaholic live reaction stream, and of course, are going
Divine.
was in line with the message that AEW were trying to get across with Fight for the Fallen. But for now, let's talk about everything that happened at AEW's third official show, from matches, storyline progression, promos, and everything.
Delicious.
This is what happened at Fight for the Fallen. First up on the pre-show, we had Peter Avalon accompanied by his fellow librarian, Leva Bates, taking on Sonny Kiss. And honestly, the jokes that they've made on Being the Elite regarding the unpopularity of the librarian's gimmick, I think has worked in AEW's favour. The Young Bucks really lampshaded how unpopular the gimmick has been, and now that that's out in the open and everyone kind of feels more comfortable about it, it's sort of replaced the silence and the uncomfortable X-Pac heat that greets the librarians with actual heel heat and boos, which I think well, I didn't expect to happen, but the Young Bucks seem to have listened very clever there by acknowledging the bad gimmick. You could still
Divine.
continuing with the gimmick when it's so unpopular, but it works a lot better here. They cut a much shorter promo of the librarians, and they were cut off by Sonny Kiss making his big popular entrance, which I think was a good way of handling it. We'll see if the librarian stuff continues to improve heading into All Out, but for now, I thought it was a vast improvement on Fighter Fest's librarian bit. So yeah, this was a decent match, a short one, but it showed off the skills of both
Divine
and Sonny Kiss. And Leva Bates on the outside was still very much a babyface, despite Peter Avalon being the heel. For example, he knocked Sonny Kiss to the outside at one point, but instead of putting the boots to him as a normal heel manager or like accompanying partner of the heel,
Divine.
Peter Avalon still very much a heel. As for the two guys in the ring, they both looked pretty good. This was a nice showcase, especially for Sonny Kiss, who picked up the victory with his split-legged leg drop kind of thing from the second rope. A decent start to the show. Sonny Kiss was massively with the crowd, which was great to see. Next up, counter matches heading down
Divine.
Riho against the debuting team of Shoko Nakajima and B. Priestley. First thing to mention is that, well, the crowd were really hot for this pre-show, but B. Priestley especially got a huge reaction
Sweet.
upon making her entrance. It was quite something to behold, and I think she's probably going to be a pretty big deal in the AEW Women's Division, just based on this reaction alone, and then the stuff that happened after the match too. This was the longer and better of the two pre-show matches, and I've said it loads before in various videos, but again, it's crazy to see how much B. Priestley has in a very short space of time.
Delicious.
Japan. She's obviously currently the top champion in Stardom, and is just a different person in the ring from when I first met her. She always had the sort of presence and the character.
Divine.
But she's a really good wrestler now and has improved so much in such a short space of time. And the crowd loves her. The other big standout
Delicious.
was Riho. She didn't seem particularly heelish after shoving Yuka Sakazaki down.
Sugar. Delicious.
Yay, exchange. changes and that sort of thing. But for the most part, she was getting 3 points for all the offense and a really, I guess, infectious energy. In fact, the lack of Yuka, who I thought maybe would make an appearance here, makes me wonder, are they going to continue with that storyline? I'm pretty optimistic that they will. I don't think they just leave that as a loose end. Let's see what happens. Maybe come all out. Let's see if Yuka gets her revenge. Her nice babyface revenge, though, because she looked really sad when Riho pushed her down. There were also 1 or 2 negatives to bring up as well. For example, at one point, Britt Baker ran to the wrong corner to make the tag, which was pretty glaring, but was kind of a match that pretty much featured some good wrestling from start to finish. The other big drawback
Divine.
and stuff, but not at the bottom of the screen.
Tasty.
Sometimes did get in the way and distract from the action. Thankfully, one that didn't return,
Divine.
the show got underway. Eventually, it was Shoko who picked up the win for the debuting team after a little back and forth between her and Riho. She was able to get her
Divine.
because Britt Baker and Bea Priestley decided to brawl after the bell. They were separated by their 2 tag team partners who kind of ushered them to the back. The crowd were loving it. The crowd were really hot to see, you know, the chance of Britt Baker versus Bea Priestley. So I think it's only going to be a matter of time until the 2 clash in the ring. And because Britt Baker's been pushed so heavily, even before Double or Nothing as one of the leading lights of All Elite Wrestling, you have to imagine
Sweet.
she's going to be put on the same level as Dr. Britt Baker. Just one final order of business before the main show got underway, and that was to bring out Jim Ross, of course, to the whole Boomer Sooner tune and everything, and then we cut to a cultaholic. Well done to that man.
Tasty.
So does Sam. He said he was going to get you one if he ever met you.
Sweet.
Say that as well. Yeah, we've seen cultaholic signs and stuff before. We've seen people tweet us with pictures of themselves in a cultaholic shirt at a video event. We always really appreciate that. But never, I don't think, have we seen a cultaholic t-shirt on
Tasty. Sugar Crush. Sweet. Sweet.
No, I can deny it. Don't ask. Now we're to the main show, and the first match was actually
New record, barely,
Joey Janela,
by less than 400 points, but that is a new record.
Sean Spears and Sammy Guevara. I think this was probably one of the stronger matches on the card. Not the best match in terms of work rate or anything, but I think maybe on balance, maybe the most fun match of the entire night. It was always going to be interesting to see how Sean Spears and MJF coexisted on the same team because of course MJF was the men who rushed to Cody's aid when Sean Spears jumped him last time around. The answer is badly. They coexisted badly. There was a lot of dissent between the two.
Divine.
Less obvious, but still kind of very deliberate elements of dissent on the babyface side of things as well. Little miscommunications over time and stuff like that. Potentially setting up a future match between any of the 3 guys on the babyface side of the ring. Maybe even a triple threat.
Tasty.
Tommy versus Jimmy Havoc, Jimmy versus Joey, Joey versus Dolly. They're all hardcore.
Tasty. Sugar Crush. Divine. Tasty. Tasty. Sweet. Delicious. Sweet.
Joe, for example, hit that terrifying release into the turnbuckle. Sammy Guevara had chances to fly all over the place. Jimmy Havoc was showing us all what he can do as a wrestler, just as a kind of deathmatch hardcore guy. MJF was the crowd and healing it up 24/7, which was excellent to see too. But the main benefactor in my mind was again Darby Allin. Just judging by social media, everybody has immediately seemed to fall in love with this guy. He has that instant connection with the fans. I'm going to compare him to Jeff Hardy.
Divine.
Megastar than Jeff Hardy is, of course, at the moment. He seems to have that same sort of instant connection. It's really quite something to see. So everybody got a little bit of a chance to shine, but the ending of the match belonged entirely Sean Spears. So Joey Janela hit Johnny with a devastating Death Valley driver on the apron, and then he didn't really show his towards his team.
Delicious.
Dragging Sammy Guevara back into the ring to make the tag. MJF was already in the ring. There was a bit of a miscommunication between the two. There was a bit of an argument, but Sean Spears ignored his partner and picked up the victory for his team. And then of course Spears like soaked in the booze of the crowd, and MJF was kind of joy at it. And it's going to set up something.
Divine.
I can't tell what, because I imagine that it's going to be Cody versus Sean Spears. But however MJF's going to get involved, I'm not certain. I think, and this might be a bit of a bold prediction, but I think that MJF's eventual inevitable betrayal of Cody is just a wild guess. Next up, Randy Rhodes versus Ali, which in terms of sheer work rate is one of the weaker matches on the card, but I think that I do quite enjoy the story.
Divine. Sugar crack.
She thinks that they're
Sweet.
but of course she's actually not.
Delicious. Sweet. Sweet. Delicious. Sweet.
Bradley just wanted to go ringside and use this distraction, striking the jump on Ali early on, but Ali fought off. But as you said, she was massively distracted by Awesome Kong throughout the match. As anyone I'm bloody terrified. In terms of wrestling ability, Ali pretty much dominated this match, and it was only because of Awesome Kong's presence and occasional interference that she didn't comfortably beat Brandy Rhodes. That's very much the story that they were trying to get across here, especially towards the end, where, like, for example, Kong dragged Brandy's foot into
Divine.
Submission. And then I think distracted the ref again so Brandy could rake the eyes, and then eventually nailed Ali with the bionic spear and picked up the pinfall victory. Given what happened next, I'm not certain if I
Divine.
Boots to Ali, beat her down a little bit, and then Awesome Kong set up to finish her off. And Ali was saved by Aja Kong, who stood into the ring, kind of being scared out of Awesome Kong, and set up.
Divine.
I cannot wait to see. I'm 100% fully invested in this. It was a feud that everyone was kind of theorizing.
Divine.
People actually thought, oh, they might actually pull the trigger on this, and it looks like they're going to. Very excited.
Delicious. Sugar crash. Sweet. Sweet. Delicious. Sweet. 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 In
the eventual tag team title tournament. That makes sense. I hope it's I think I've got it right. So basically the winner of this match is best friends all out, and then the winner of that match will get a bye in the tournament. Anyway, Luchasaurus is really over, isn't he? Yeah, one of the main takeaways from this match is just how bloody over Luchasaurus is, and Jungle Boy, and Marco Stunt as well, who is now officially affiliated with those two.
Divine.
I think for fans unfamiliar with them, they didn't really connect when they got
Tasty.
And interruptions on the screen and that sort of thing. It didn't quite click. They weren't getting the best reaction. But now that they've shown what they can do in the ring, I think they're popping. There's so many good moves in this match. But there were certain portions of it that weren't
Divine.
That makes sense. Also, Marco Stunt got involved at one point, coming off the top with a huge Rana to take everybody out, and then
Delicious.
Yeah, dude. Picked up Marco Stunt and just pressed him onto someone on the outside. Can't quite remember who, but he threw him hard, and that's his friend. Finally, though, it was the Dark Order who won the battle of the double team moves, I suppose. All throughout speaking to this match. But the Dark Order won, taking on forward with the fatality on a
Divine.
The winner gets a bye in the first round of the tag team title tournament. Yes. Next up, Hangman Page versus Kip Sabian, which was a bit of a weird atmosphere for the first sort of half.
Divine.
Hangman is, of course, going on to face Jericho to determine the first champion of All Elite Wrestling. But both Page and Sabian worked really, really hard to get everybody invested, and the match really grew into itself as it went on. And it was a pretty long match as well. It went for almost the entire one of the seems to be the way in which they can typically use their matches.
Divine. Sugar Crush.
At least for now. I know it's early.
Delicious. Sweet.
We're getting a little closer.
Another big moment was when Sabian was standing on the outside and a fan just got right in his face over the crowd. So Sabian went to kiss him and he backed off. I don't know if it was a plan. At first I thought he seemed like a plan, but was just a really angry guy who hates Kip Sabian. The finishing sequence of this
Divine. Sugar Crush.
More competitive than expected.
Delicious. Divine.
And did the slow like mask review or Jericho likes to do. Except by this point I thought it already worked out. I think there might be diminishing returns on the whole mask reveal thing, Chris. Jericho triumphantly wandered off heelishly after beating down his opponent at All Out.
Divine. Sugar Crush. Sweet. Sweet.
That's why he did it later on in the show. Again, I don't know how true that is.
Divine. Sweet. Sweet. Sweet.
Represented by Scorpion Sky and Frankie Kazarian, but Christopher Daniels. This was one of the horse crowd reactions of the night. Both teams really over with the crowd, early on and dueling chants and that sort of thing. Pentagon did his whole slowly taking off of the glove, throw it to the referee, do the zero meter.
Divine.
Which I think helped prevent her from getting the glove, really. Sometimes wrestling's silly.
Tasty.
Once all the taunts were out of the way, there were some big exchanges of strikes.
Divine. Sugar Crush.
Daniel's got his own back with a springboard.
Divine. Sweet.
Everything you'd expect from excellent tag teams. Two of the best tag teams in the world today, but the Lucha Brothers with the sort of double stomp into the package pile driver combination of their signature moves. And I think that was the right call. You know, the Lucha Brothers are being kept
Divine.
One of the stronger ones on the show. Daniels came back out to help his guys once they'd been beaten, but the Lucha Brothers chased off all three members of the opposing team with an AEW
Divine.
In a ladder match. I'm looking forward to that very much, assuming that it happens. It surely will. And yeah, I'm really excited. The Lucha Brothers also declared themselves the best tag team in the world, and I think
Tasty.
a really tricky one. Next up, Kenny Omega versus Shima, which garnered This Is Awesome chance even before the bell. It's a bit of a dream match, isn't it? Especially for fans of Japanese wrestling. This had a very slick opening sequence. Such a level of expertise in the ring.
Divine.
Kind of almost like a New Japan match. It was the most New Japan style thing on the entire show. Maybe even like a New Japan Juniors match at times, given the level of agility and speed from both men. There was also one particularly crazy one where the final Omega over the timekeeper table, and then finally from the first level
Divine.
and then jumped down to
Sweet.
Meteora, his poor knees, onto Kenny Omega. And the timekeeper's table, of course, didn't break. Omega just slid off. And I was fearing for Shima's knees, but, you know, he couldn't really sell it too much because he was meant to have won that exchange. That was the move that helped push him closer to victory. Are your knees okay? Can you make
Divine.
Because the one-legged angel is one of the most protected finishers in all of wrestling today, you know that one would have been enough to push Shima away. But Shima kept doing his best to get out of it. He clearly done his homework on Kenny, and he was slipping on his back, hitting little reversals and that sort of thing. This felt like a really strategic struggle. But just when it looked as though Shima was
Tasty.
just when it looked like Shima was going to pull out that upset, he ran for the ropes, and all of the leg work that he and I guess there was a new rule that Shima had done maybe and he just throttled
Divine.
the ropes. Omega took full advantage. V-trigger, one-wigged angel. In fact, no, there was a bit more of a complex closing exchange than that. I think maybe Omega hit a snapdragon for two.
Divine. Sugar Crush. Sweet. Tasty.
Please forgive me.
Divine. Tasty. Divine. Delicious. Sweet.
Maybe you should have cut the promo earlier. What was a strangely straightforward promo? He's meant to be this kind of mini Bruiser Brody, wild, destructive, psychotic madman, and then he comes out with this
New record on level 39. We're moving on to 40.
And I just thought it didn't quite sync up with his character entirely. He also said if it wasn't for him, then there'd be no AEW, which is a great heel line to be fair to him. And also said that he's been thinking about this whole Hangman Page thing, and he thinks that he can't lose it all out, because if he does lose, it'll be...
Divine.
Then Page came out and got his revenge, beat up Jericho a little bit, but he did have a bit of a... Well, his eye was still all bloody from the attack earlier. He had a nice bit of bruising around it as well. I don't know how legit it was, but it looked pretty convincing either way. And they were talking about various referees and road agents and that sort of thing. Jerry Lynn was even out there. Awesome to see Jerry Lynn. I was legitimately excited. And finally, the main event of the night, Cody and Dustin Rhodes against the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. A very interesting clash of styles, and a match that felt pretty long as well. Maybe it wasn't quite as epic as they were going for, but I still enjoyed it. It just wasn't the best match of the night or anything, and I think maybe it was designed to be. The Bucks were really healing it up for this one, mocking Cody and Dustin's embrace at Double or Nothing, for example, and at one point Nick just spitting at Cody on the apron, which was really cool to see. It's great. I do enjoy it when the Young Bucks heal it up now and then because everyone loves them so much. It's nice to see them just being dickheads like they used to be, you know? It's also just crazy at his age how well Dustin can still go in the ring.
Divine.
He hit that twisting crossbody off the top. He hit the cover. Everything he did it as though he'd done it 1,000 times before. I guess that's the point. But, you know, even at his age, it looked so crisp and so clean. And his timing around the ring, breaking up pinfalls.
Sweet.
It's almost like he's some kind of natural, because it's There were plenty of exchanges here involving the signature Rhodes drop-down uppercuts and super kicks. And one particularly brutal pair of super kicks as well, or a double super kick, which the Bucks hit to the back of Sean Spears' chair shot at the last show. They looked a bit conflicted before they did this, and it brought back memories for me of the Bucks versus Omega and Ibushi, where there was all this conflict and like torn friendships and that sort of thing. Dustin was able to break up that pinfall, and then
Sweet Sugar Crush. Sweet.
Desperate for the Rhodes brothers, and it's apparent that Cody was actually the far more damaged member of the team, especially after that super kick to the back of the head. But eventually the Bucks were able to take out Dustin on the outside, isolating Cody in the ring and putting him away with a climactic Meltzer driver. And Cody was telling the truth, you know, he really did need his older brother, and when the chips were down, it was actually Cody who lost the match for his team. It was a really interesting way of doing it, but then I think I kind of like. And then after the match, some weirdness happened that we have to talk about. So I don't know what the original plan was, but the Bucks cut a promo where basically they were trying to reconcile with Cody and Dustin and said, look, we were dicks in the it was all in the spirit of competition, you know, and you guys are one of the best tag teams we've ever faced anywhere. There was a little shot of WWE as well.
Divine.
And sportsmanship. But this photo is my favorite night. They were outside Kenny Omega, who came
Delicious.
out with, Brandy and Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy with a big check. You know, it was the whole closing ceremony where they revealed how much they'd raised for charity, and Matt was clearly taken legitimately by surprise here. He went, oh, and we never know.
Divine. Sugar Crush. Tasty. 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 Delicious.
By the progression of things on the show, you can see that they were a little bit like, what's going on here? Why did we get a chance to finish it? Cody and Kenny sent us home with, you know, both giving big speeches about what a great night it was and how they love how everyone loves All Elite Wrestling and how great a cause it was, and they were $150,000, I believe, was the final total, which is awesome. But at the same time, when Kenny was talking, went over to him and whispered him, and he went, yeah, no problem.
Sweet.
Something was definitely going to happen in that closing promo, whether it was a line or
Delicious.
heel turn, I don't know. We won't know what it is unless, I guess, All Elite decide to reveal that.
Sweet.
The reception line was a bit more mixed. My opinion was above the general line, I think. I thought it was pretty good. I thought there were various good matches. Kenny Omega versus Shima, of course. Quite a few of the tag matches impressed me a lot as well.
Tasty.
Had a game with All Elite. It was before All Elite was a thing, but it happened at All Elite, where the last match was really, really rushed. This final match wasn't rushed, but the final promo certainly was. I don't know what the cause of it is, whether it was that Jericho thing or whether that was just made up, something else, just matches overrunning. But they do need to get their timing down. That is a criticism I will sort of accept as a valid one when it comes to All Elite. I think that one's
Delicious.
But apart from that, I thought it was a thoroughly enjoyable show. I've seen people saying online that it was either better or worse than Fight Fest.
Tasty. Sugar Crush. Divine. Delicious.
Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comment section down below. You can follow Cultaholic and on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you enjoy what we do, then please do check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Cultaholic, where you can most importantly to hit subscribe and to join us.
Delicious. Divine. Delicious. Delicious. Sugar Crush. Tasty. Tasty. Delicious. Sweet.
Hey everybody, Ryan here with my review of
That's a new record on 42. Took a couple attempts, but we got there.
professional wrestling, because there was not only this show, but before that there was the G1, there was AEW's Fight for the Fallen, there was the Evolved 10th Anniversary show. Those two happened on the same night, and of course there was this. If you watched all that, or even like 3 out of the 4, my hat is off to you, because that's a lot of time dedicated to professional wrestling viewing in a single weekend. I certainly could not do that in this weekend, given my current life state and everything. But here we are, Extreme Rules. This was a show, out of all those that I mentioned, probably has the most amount of pressure and scrutiny and like the least expectations going into it. So how would this show respond? Well, we're going to find out pretty soon, because the pre-show begins with an Intercontinental Championship match where Finn Balor defends against Shinsuke. Nakamura in a rematch from last Tuesday. This match was only announced a couple hours before the pre-show began. It's a good match as expected, though. Early on, Balor goes for a plancha on the outside, but he pretty much takes the entire thing on the floor. That doesn't look very good. The match ends when Finn misses the coup de grace. Shinsuke hits the knee to the back of the head, followed up by the Kinshasa. Nakamura wins for the second time this week against Finn and is the new Intercontinental Champion. I give the match 2.5 stars. Solid opener for a pre-show. A title change is always a nice way to get the crowd excited for what's to come. It certainly justifies Shinsuke beating Finn last week on SmackDown, even though I maintain we shouldn't have even had that match to begin with. I know people were better last week.
Having a hard time getting the highscore.com to load. Might be because of the rain here in my own area, messing around with my internet. So we're going to call that it for right now.
Talked about that match, and I complained that Shinsuke shouldn't have won. People said, well, Shinsuke needed to win because it would make him look strong. Or, hear me out on this, maybe we don't have to wrestle in a non-title match for the first time after they're both dogs on television for the longest time, leading into the pay-per-view match less than a week later with the same outcome. You could have made Shinsuke look strong, having him win a few matches at least on television before challenging Finn in a non-title matchup, while keeping Finn on television in the public consciousness, but neither of those guys were on television, and I maintain what I said last week, that Finn had more to lose last week in losing because he was the champion going into it. And again, I know champions lose non-title matches all the time, but to me this is the case where both guys weren't really on TV that much, and so it was almost kind of a fresh start for both of them, it seems. But with Shin winning 2...
There's the proof that I'm on iOS.
I think that's fine.
This is Brandon Kelly, Speedy4759, 123. Y'all just watched several levels of Candy Crush. Thank you for watching.
Last year, it's just been like one disappointing Intercontinental Champion